You know the migratory pattern of the Arctic tern, the precise chemical composition of a distant star, and the entire plot of a movie you only saw once 7 years ago. Your brain is a treasure chest of beautiful, intricate, and completely random information. But you're left wondering why none of this seems particularly useful. You're at a casual barbecue, and everyone's debating the best way to grill a steak. But your mind is completely occupied with the mating rituals of the deep-sea anglerfish. You just smile and nod, feeling like your internal operating system is from a different planet. But that feeling isn't a sign that you're broken or that your focus is flawed. It's the signature of a very specific cognitive architecture. And once you understand the science behind it, you begin to see it not as a quirk, but with genuine compassion. So let's be clear. This has very little to do with your IQ or simply having a good memory. It's more fundamental than that. Think of it as a kind of cognitive hunger, an innate drive wired into your brain's architecture to seek out novelty and complexity. But this constant impulse to gather information often creates a specific kind of internal friction, a feeling that this vast collection is ultimately useless. This relentless impulse has a name, one that allows us to begin reframing it. We call it the collector's drive. In psychology, this isn't just a random tendency. It's a core personality trait within the well-established Big Five model. It's called openness to experience. And fascinatingly, it's not just a description of behavior. It points to a specific kind of brain chemistry we can actually observe. Studies in journals like Psychological Science reveal that high openness is closely tied to the brain's dopamine pathways. That's the neurochemical of exploration and reward. For these minds, learning isn't just a task, it's a deeply motivating chemical event. So how does a simple fact trigger it? For a mind with this particular architecture, each novel piece of information isn't just data, it's a discovery. Learning it provides a small, satisfying hit of dopamine, a literal chemical reward for the act of exploration itself. Your mind isn't just collecting, it's actively cultivating. Some minds are structured like a pristine library, with information filed neatly on designated shelves. But yours might be more like a wild, biodiverse forest. From the well-trodden path, it can appear tangled and chaotic. But within that undergrowth is a complex, thriving ecosystem of connections. It's not disorganized, it's simply a different kind of order. So, what is the internal weather actually like inside a mind like this? But this dopamine-driven exploration is only half the picture. The other half explains that constant feeling of being internally preoccupied, even in silence. While one part of you is in a conversation, another is wondering about the history of the coffee cup in your hand or the physics of the sunlight on the wall. This isn't for an audience. It's about satisfying an endless internal stream of what-ifs and whys. And this constant inner dialogue isn't random. It's a feature of your brain's default wiring. And this isn't just a feeling, it's documented. Neuroimaging studies show that individuals high in openness tend to have stronger connections within their default mode network, the brain's hub for imagination and spontaneous thought. So, what does having this network constantly online actually feel like? It feels like your mind is its own most interesting conversation partner. The outside world isn't always the main event. Sometimes it's the commercial break. This constant internal activity isn't a failure to pay attention. So let's reframe this completely. You're not distracted, you're internally focused. But this unique architecture can sometimes feel isolating to navigate socially. And there's a real social cost to this. When you share a fascinating detail about, say, the history of cartography, and you're met with a blank stare, it can feel profoundly isolating. It reinforces that quiet, nagging fear. Is my mind just a storage unit for useless trivia? That question, is it useless, is completely understandable. From the outside, it can look like a random collection of facts. But that perspective is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of what the brain is actually doing with all those pieces. To see its real purpose, we first have to dismantle a common myth. The myth is that your mind is a storage unit being filled with junk, but it's not a passive hard drive. It's a chef's pantry. Each fact is an ingredient, and its true value is revealed when you begin to combine them. This isn't about memorizing isolated data points. It's about building a complex neural map. Every new fact becomes another node in a vast web of associations, creating more pathways for unexpected connections. And what kind of person benefits most from this mental architecture? The innovator, the artist, the strategist. This isn't a mind cluttered with trivia. It's the very architecture of creative synthesis. But what does this unique superpower actually look like? It looks like the ability to solve a problem by connecting the behavior of slime molds to corporate strategy. It's seeing a pattern between ancient Roman logistics and a modern supply chain crisis. This isn't a party trick. It's a deep analytical strength. So the goal isn't to change this architecture. The work, then, is to partner with its unique texture. So what's a simple practice for intentionally weaving those disparate threads together? First, reframe the experience. You're not falling down a rabbit hole, you're engaging in intellectual foraging. Then, after you emerge, ask one simple question. How does this connect to something else I know? This small habit turns passive collection into active integration. But this practical step often runs into a much older internal voice. That voice, the one whispering, "I'm weird," or "this is unproductive," is not your own. It's an external judgment from a world that misunderstands your mind's texture. And that judgment is simply incorrect. So let's offer a more accurate and compassionate final reframe. Your mind is not a cluttered attic. It's a well-stocked workshop. Every piece of knowledge is a tool waiting for its purpose. And having compassion for this unique architecture allows you to stop asking if it's strange and start asking something much more profound. The question is no longer why you collect all these pieces. The real question is, what masterpiece are you slowly, quietly building with them? After seeing your mind is a workshop, not a cluttered attic, what unique tool have you collected, and what masterpiece are you building with it? I want to read your answer in the comments. But this intense drive to build it all yourself is often just one piece of a much larger psychological pattern. In the next video, we reveal the hidden reasons so many of us refuse to ask for help. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the truth, like this, and share it with someone who needs to understand.